Hey everyone, my name is Tim Johnson and I'm a children's author and author of over 50 titles now on Amazon. And this is something I do every single day, and I wanted to show you guys how to get your book into Createspace. It's a fairly simple process, and I'm going to give you a pretty detailed walkthrough because there's a lot of intricate steps and there's a lot of really interesting things that you can do to make sure your book gets better visibility. This is going to be the intro course, and I'll have a variety of other courses that kind of fill in the gaps where we might breeze over a few things in this course. But bear with me, and hopefully you learn something here. What you're looking at here on the screen is the member dashboard. When you create your account at Createspace, this is what you're going to see, and this is what I log into, and I see this dashboard every single day. This is a new account, obviously. There's no money in it. My account balances looks a little bit different than that one, and hopefully yours will too pretty soon. But the first things first, we want to get your book onto Createspace. So, given that you've created your book and you have some illustrations and you have some words and you want to get them into some sort of file and you want to get them onto Amazon, that's what we're going to do today. Because with kids' books, it's pretty easy to wrap up a book into a Kindle book, but to get it into print is another thing. It's a different story altogether. Kids' books. People want to pick up kids' books. They want to flip through them, and kids want to be able to flip through them, and not, flip through a Kindle screen or something like that digitally. So having paper books is very important for kids' books, and that's not going to go away anytime soon. So getting your book into paper is a great idea. Let's get started by adding a new title. The name of your book. My book. Capitalized book. My book. Choose paperback. Createspace offers a few different things here. You can do DVDs or video downloads or audio CDs. Obviously, we're going to be doing just a paperback. And there's a couple of different options they give you to get started here. A guided tour, but don't waste your time with that. You're an expert now, trust me. So click on Get Started as an expert. Okay, and I had to pause for just a second there because when I created my first book and I hit Get Started, it asked me for my payee information, my social security number, and how I want to get paid for the book. So it's going to ask you that right up front. You're going to have to put in a little bit of your information. You can get paid by check or by direct deposit. It's up to you. So you'll have to deal with that before you get here. But once you get here, this is your setup page. My book, that's the name of your book, and subtitle is the first book I've written. Simple as that. Primary author, so obviously yourself. Put your name in there. There's a lot of other things that you can add as contributors. When you go on Amazon and you see a book, it's going to list the author, it's going to list the illustrator, it's going to list editors and all sorts of things. So if you have an illustrator, which you may have, you click Illustrated By and you hit Add, and then you type in my illustrator, and I just realized I put my last name in the wrong spot there. It's my middle name, so make sure you get those correct. And for all your books, you're going to want to use the same name. If you have variants of your name, I wouldn't want to use Timothy on one book and then Tim on another book, because I want them all to be listed on Amazon under the same author. And I guess there's ways around that, but that's a topic for another day. So you can add more contributors as you deem necessary. If it's part of a series, you can make it part of a series, and this will kind of tell Amazon that it's part of a series. It's going to treat it a little bit differently within the algorithms. Generally, books in a series are better for marketing, for sales, because they pop up. If someone reads the first book in a series, they're going to be more likely to see in their suggested reading on Amazon the second book in the series, and so forth. So that's a good idea, but I'm going to skip that for now. I mean, you can put in some information there if you want to. If you're creating a series, just the name of the series and the volume number. Edition number, if you want to add an edition number, first edition, second edition. Generally for children's books, I don't do anything with the edition. The language is probably going to be in English. Publication date, you can select today's date. Now here's where it gets a little interesting. There's an ISBN number. Is the number that's associated with the book. Every book in the US has a number like this, and you're going to need one. You can purchase a ISBN number through Bowker's and through some other various ISBN number suppliers. I haven't done that in the past. I've always used a free ISBN assigned by Createspace, because Createspace is a wholesale buyer of ISBN numbers, and they purchase a billion at a time, and they can assign you one. And since they make money off of you, they're not going to charge you anything for the ISBN. So that's what I go for. I publish all my books exclusively on Createspace. I don't have any other sort of publication outlet, so I use their ISBN number. Physical properties. So when you have a children's book, some things you have to consider are there are a lot of different size books that you can different trim sizes that you can create. Most of the ones here are kind of a vertical orientation, portrait orientation, I guess you could call it. And these are standard trim sizes. They're all industry standard trim sizes, so they fit on bookshelves, they fit in packaging, and it's just standard for the industry. There are some more sizes that are custom trim. You can get an elongated trim size. You can have a wide landscape version of the book, or a square version. And I actually do all my books in square, 8.5 inch by 8.5 inch. There are some limitations put on that, though. Since it's a non-standard trim size, you are not allowed to distribute your book in the expanded distribution channel. You have to choose an industry standard size. And it's going to tell you that when you select the 8.5 by 8.5, but that's only relevant if you're doing a black and white book. Select full color, because I'm assuming your children's book, your illustrated book, is going to be a full color book. 8.5 by 8.5 is now a standard trim size for a full color book, which is awesome. Obviously, you can choose any other trim size you want. I think square works well for children's books. It's pretty standard, which is why it's designated as an industry standard. There's generally two different choices for paper color, white or cream. The cream generally for novels. You can picture the paper. It's a little bit more fibrous, and so it has a creamier color. Only white is available for children's books. Since they're printing in full color on it, they need to have the white paper. Interior PDF file. So you have a book now that you've created, and you have all your illustrations and your text, and you're going to need to wrap that into a PDF file. And we can talk about exactly how to do that, because there's a lot of detail that goes into that end of things. You need to get trim sizes right, you need to get the margins right, you need to get the resolution right, and everything has to be on the same size sheet. Each page has to be the right size. With PDF files, you can have different size pages, but you have to be careful because you want them all to be the same size. For my books, I generally do illustrations that cover the whole page, which means I need to select the bleed option here. Ends after the end of the page. It gives you a little illustration here as to what that means. Your illustration may go off the page. So there's going to be a little bit of clipping that happens on the edge there. So this is what I select. I'm going to do another course that gets more into how to format your book and how to gauge that trim size and get it just right. But depending on what kind of book you write, your selection there could be either or. Cover creator. I do a PDF cover file. I'm going to do another course on what the cover creator is and how you can easily create a cover through Createspace if you want to do that. Generally, it's not the best cover in the world. I prefer to hire someone or have my illustrator do a quick cover for me, and then upload that here as a PDF file. Again, there's trim implications and things that we can talk about in another course. Cover finish. This is a new option that Createspace just rolled out. That you can do a glossy or a matte finish. Children's books, I think glossy is the way to go. That's just me personally. I've done novels that have a matte finish, and it's actually a pretty nice finish. It's one of those soft soft finishes. It's fun to touch. I don't know how to explain that, but anyway, I go with glossy for kids' books. Book description. This is where you're going to put your book description, and this is a very important part of the book listing. This is where you want to have a lot of good keywords for your book and some kind of actionable headlines and some real grabbers, some emotion capturing sentences and phraseology. So I'm going to have a whole section on that as well, how to write the best description. It's a really important part. Next part here is the BISAC category, which is, it tells Amazon where to put it, which category to put your book, because they don't know if you don't tell them. And these are industry standard categories. The BISAC code is an industry standard in the US, and there are a lot of different categories here you can see. Generally for children's books, you can go to juvenile fiction right here, and then it gives you a whole bunch of other categories. The black ones are a final category. If I select art and architecture, that's a final category. If I wanted to select animals, that has a little arrow here, so it's going to open up another selection here. If my book were about birds, say. So say I have a fiction book about birds, this is probably the place to put it. And you have to select, choose this category. Reading level, whatever your book is appropriate for, say kindergarten. Select kindergarten. Now you're going to want to add an author biography here. You probably, if you're writing a book, you're considering what's my author biography going to be. You know, if this is your first book, if you've written some other books, I generally use the same author biography and maybe update it every year or so with more relevant information. But you're going to paste that there. Book language, English, country of publication, United States, search keywords, very important part here. Now, when you're thinking about keywords, think about what people are going to be typing when they're looking for your book. If you have a fiction book about birds, maybe the birds are talking, and maybe they have friendship, and maybe they have some sort of dynamic that would be interesting plot-wise to a parent or teacher. And if you want to go with words that would capture a teacher or a parent, because those are going to be your buyers, not the children. So if you want to put in here something, philosophy books for kids, something about birds, the particular type of bird who's in the book maybe. Friendship is a good keyword to use if you have a dynamic like that. Inspiration, overcoming challenges, things like that are good keywords for parents and teachers who are looking for books that are specific to a particular niche. If you're teaching something in your book, you want to express that in your keyword so that people can find it. If your book contains large print, there's a check mark here. Probably not adult content, I'm guessing. I mean, maybe, but just check that box if it does. I've seen kids' books that do. But anyway, large print. If you have print that's over 16-point font size, check large print. Now, there's a couple other subsections here that I'm going to get into in the next section. I hope that we've covered a little bit here and really kind of breezed through the process here really quickly. There are a couple other things I'm going to get into in some subsequent lectures. If you will move on to lecture 2, that will be excellent. We'll cover different sales channels and how to price your book and complete the whole publication and Createspace setup. So, thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.